Welcome to the Sound of Movement podcast. Today we are going to be discussing the importance of analysis and feedback when it comes to your training and program design. It's one thing to get a great program, but it is an entirely different set of skills to be able to analyze your performance and make progress from there. Like Vasquez said in Aliens, let's rock. If you're new to the tribe, Rich is behind the mix. Rad is at the table with me. He actually isn't. I've got Nalesh at the table with me across there. I'm Yanni Bormeister, and we are Unity Gym experts at turning driven people into athletes. This episode is brought to you by the Unify Movement System. This is legit the only online program effectively balancing strength, flexibility, and fitness so you can unleash your inner athlete. Get daily coaching by all of us here at Unity Gym, plus our epic Foundations Prep program and revolutionary structural balance blueprint to create your ideal program and optimize your performance. Now, we do have a flash sale going right now, 50% lifetime discount. It's only open for another 3 days. Get yourself in. Otherwise, we do offer a 30-day free trial if you just want to join outside of that time. Now, before we get started, warm welcome to everyone on the live stream in the UMS Movement Mastermind Facebook group. Leave a comment and we'll send you some love. Remember, guys, anyone can join the Movement Mastermind and interact with us here live. Lastly, shout out to our YouTube athletes catching the replay. Hit the like button to support the channel and subscribe if you like what you see. Now, before we get started and I welcome these amazing gentlemen around the table from me, I do want to give a shout out to everyone who's tuning in, who's a new part of the community of the ADPT Physio tribe. If you've had a session with one of these amazing boys, big shout out to you. If you haven't already, give them a 5-star Google review. It does help them a lot. And be ready because they're going to be launching their own podcast soon and it's going to be freaking amazing. We're not going to lose them. They're still going to be on here, but they're going to have a physio-specific podcast. So watch that space. How are you this morning, boys?
Good. Yeah, exciting times. Looking forward to it. We've been working on our podcast strategy and figuring out all the different topics we want to talk about. So there's big things coming.
Sorry, go on.
No, good morning. No, it feels right. It's been a long time coming and we've had that many cafes and espressos and piccolos and lattes and
marketing meetings.
So it's all coming together.
Yeah, so. It's looking good. It's looking good. Now, today is a great discussion, not only because it's an awesome topic, but because we do have both the boys here and we're gonna be talking about something that, we've adopted from high-level sports performance that we do now here on the UMS Online Coaching platform, which is our daily group coaching to critique videos that our tribe upload. And we want to drill deep into why this is so important. We've spoken about the difference between a template program and a customized or personalized program based on data you collect from assessing your physical capabilities and why those two have a place in the world of program design and why they are both important at different times of your training. But it doesn't matter how good your program is, if you're not getting constant feedback, if you're not uploading or getting someone to critique your movement, you can really go off on a tangent and be doing the wrong things. We've talked a lot about how technique optimization is one of the best ways to avoid needing a physio, and that's what these boys do so well. 9 times out of 10 when I see them working with a patient, they're out on the gym floor just perfecting their technique for movements, and it's really impressive to see. So what you need before you even get in that stage is you need a platform where you have a coach's eye on you critiquing your movement. And, I'll start with throwing the discussion over to Nalesh so he can talk about how they do it at the GWS Giants in the AFL, Australian Football League. And then we can talk about how we've sort of adopted that here at Unity Gym and in our online coaching program.
Yeah, mate. So obviously with the Giants and in sport, it's an environment where you get critiqued every day. And one, you got to be open for feedback because it's the only way you get better. So we'll go through a injured player. If they start into a squat, we film it. There's 2-3 coaches tweaking little cues. We've even obviously again here we can't bring this into a gym every day, but we got force plates. We use different technologies, but where we get different measurements of how they're moving, where they're moving, how the knee angles are and so forth, how the trunk is. But ultimately what this brings us to is we're able to sit the player down and go, this is where we're at, this is how you're moving, and this is where we want to be. And I think we do that really well in a simplistic manner here on the online coaching, which obviously is transitions really well.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, that's right. And you know, we were having a bit of a chat earlier on offline about this, and one of the things that you know, you don't even really think about it because we just do what we do because we love what we do, and we love helping people. But, you know, I was a personal trainer at Fitness First for just over 10 years. And when you're coaching someone one-on-one or even in a semi-private, you know, as a client, and I've been a client before of a personal trainer, of great personal trainers, you know, you're relying on that one person and that one person's knowledge and feedback. But collectively, like, and I didn't really think about this, when we do our online coaching, daily group coaching calls straight after these podcasts, these guys are uploading videos and asking questions, and you've got a collective like wealth of knowledge here. You've got 2 physiotherapists, you've got a bunch of exercise coaches and personal trainers. And if you added the years of the skin in the game that we've all got collectively, it'd be about 60 or 70 years of knowledge.
You know, call it a little performance team.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know. And these people, you know, these guys in our tribe are getting that collective input, which is so much more valuable than working with one coach, you know. And then again, infinitely more valuable than working off a templated program that you've just downloaded and put to work, you know.
Exactly.
So it's really important. But, you know, let's talk about why. And Phil, this is something that I know you're really passionate about, which is, you know, the macro and micro loading. So why don't we remind our viewers or listeners about that? Stephen Pellegrino's going, thanks, double exclamation mark. Look, I can't stress to you how valuable it is, and I don't really think about it that often, but to have that collective knowledge, looking at you guys and analysing your movement patterns and looking at where you can find those little 1% improvements that accumulate over the year and take you to a whole new level, it's so valuable, you know. So let's talk about...
And Stephen's someone who really makes the most out. He's one of our online coaching members who, you know, really does make the most of it, puts up plenty of videos and
absolutely
is getting some amazing results.
We got Barbara here.
Yeah,
morning,
sure.
Barbara. Both online coaching members on there. So let us know if you're catching the live stream, let us know who you are so we can send you some love as well. But let's just quickly frame the difference between macro and micro loading and why, first of all, it's important for injury management.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about macro loading before with the idea that your program is basically your macro loading and also your lifestyle factors that are going to be influencing the different parts of your body. So if we think about your lower body in a program setting, you're going to have, you know, with the gym program, a squat day, a deadlift day, and now we're doing the optional kind of athletic development Wednesday session, which is more about sort of hip balance as well. So you think, you know, okay, we've got 3 days of lower body intensive exercise, and you look at the sets and reps and intensity, so how much weight you're putting on the bar or on the movement, and then also then consider throughout the week what other lower body activities are you doing. Are you doing an intensive stretch session on both of those upper body days, or all 3 of the upper body days if you do straight arm strength? If so, you've got to take into account how much stretching load you're putting in. Do you go for a run on the weekend? Do you go for long hikes? You know, all of those factors are going to be how much total sort of load you're putting on your lower body, and that's so important for to then have an idea of how you progressively overload and work towards the different factors that you want to you know, gain the most. So if you're if you're running in a direction of flexibility and you're putting lots and lots of flexibility loading through on your lower body mobility days, then you've got to then consider the effect of going really intense on your strength days. But it's that idea of having a big picture view of how much total load you're putting on your body and how you can then progressively overload it without going too hard, too fast and injuring yourself.
Yep.
So that's the idea of macro loading. Now,
can I stop you there before we go micro loading? I want to give 2 examples that are really practical. First and foremost, we had a gentleman in our tribe ask us a great question a couple of months ago. He's a bricklayer, and he said, you know, I'm finding that when I do the deadlift day, because it's on a Friday, my lower back is just really, really cooked quickly. Should I take into consideration that I'm, you know, laying bricks and bending over and picking up and moving bricks all day long? That's a classic example of macro load outside of your exercise program, and it certainly influences that deadlift day, because he's done that all week with the bricks and then gets to deadlift day. So, you know, there's different things you could do there. You could flip deadlift day to be on Monday so that your lower back is fresh after the weekend. Another example is me with my running recently. I started running again, and I had to to deload my squatting. Before I was running, I was squatting around 160 kilos in a workout, and I had to go right back and then slowly start to progress. So I basically dropped my workload back to about 100 kilo squats, but doing higher rep ranges, and slowly work back up to heavier and heavier squats. But manage, with the combination of the running and the squatting. So it's just, you have to take it into consideration. I couldn't just keep squatting 160, 170 kilos and run. Something would have given out, you know.
So with the interest of trying to keep on topics, we definitely, we can talk about this all day. And we have done in previous podcasts explaining these sort of concepts, but do keep in mind with energy systems as well. So how much steady state versus high intensity versus strength versus recovery you're getting as well. But then with microloading, it's all about techniques. So basically how and exercise selection within those for a squat. So if you're doing a low bar squat versus a high bar squat versus a front squat, they're going to load the different parts of your lower body differently depending on the loading technique. So that's where microloading becomes so important, because there's ways in which you can kind of affect the total macro load by getting that technique right. And sometimes people are overloading just because they've got, maybe they're a runner who runs only on the toes and they just totally cook their calves, and a little change to your running could just, really spread it a bit more evenly throughout your legs. In a squat is the kind of classic example. If your knees are getting really angry from just doing, lots and lots of intensive knee bend, then looking at how you can use hip hinge to sort of functionally deload the knees, but staying in the same program. So that's what we're sort of talking about here with macro and micro loading.
And they're both really, really important concepts to take into consideration, and where you can get a lot of assistance and benefit from having a constant connection with a coach who's critiquing you, first and foremost with macro loading, just asking the right questions, like the gentleman that we were talking about.
Yeah, and I think to really strip this back and think about those two ideas of in the context of a training program. So it's the training program is going to be your macro loading, and we have analysis and feedback sort of built into the Unity programs, where once you've gone through your foundations, you did the template sort of stuff that we've talked about yesterday's episode. And if you haven't listened to that, do go back and listen to it. But basically, once you get into progressions, you have inbuilt feedback and analysis from your testing weeks, where you get some information. You've got useful information because you've already spent the time developing like a general prep and also a decent level of technique, and then you can get some useful data which will then inform how you go into your next cycle. So that's a good bit of like analysis that you can do for yourself, but where it's really powerful is if you can get some feedback on like, okay, I've done this, now what, like ideally working with a coach to be, okay, what I want to get to this goal, how do I get there? And hopefully over this time, you start to learn this a bit yourself, and you can do it yourself, but there's nothing quite like having a coach to help you with that. Now, when it comes to that micro-loading analysis and feedback, that's where the online coaching calls that we do each day now are so useful, because it was so enlightening when I started watching video of myself doing things. Like when I played high-level ultimate frisbee, we'd have games, recorded high-level games that we'd go back and do post-game analysis, and I'd be like, who is that? Oh my, that's me? What? Like I'm running with like this weird sort of straight arm gait, like
running style.
And I just like in my head I looked a certain way, and then I looked at video and I was like, whoa, I've got like a weird running technique, man. And then ended up working with a running coach, a sprint coach, who would video me, and and I really dialed that in. And same thing with swimming, where I thought I was doing a certain technique and I got like all these cues to do it, and in my brain I was doing it, but then when I got like underwater video analysis, like there was no you could see that I was absolutely not doing the right technique, where I didn't have that high elbow as I was coming through the water. And it just was so enlightening, because my brain was telling me one thing, but the video doesn't lie.
Yeah. And
so I think in the micro loading side of things, that analysis of being able to look at a video and then getting feedback from coaches ideally is just how you really progress.
Yeah. 100%. And it certainly is, I think, I mean, it's definitely the way of the future and the way that we're doing things. And we've got all these great tools and technology now. And you mentioned a few different pieces of technology that you guys use at the footy. So I think if you're not doing that, if you're not getting that critique, if you're not getting that feedback, if you're not using that as an opportunity, you're really leaving a lot on the table. But these smartphones have pretty much put a coach in everyone's pocket, you know, like in that regard. Like you now can so easily, I mean, especially in our system, in our program, set up a video, post it up in the Facebook group. Within a day, within 24 hours, you're going to have it broken down and analysed, give feedback. And one of the things I want to highlight is that process, and we always make a real conscious effort of looking at videos that we can prioritise that are going to give a lot of value to everybody as well. You know, I mean, we usually get through almost all of them every day, if not every second day, but we always try to do it in a way where it doesn't matter whether it's your video that's being critiqued or not, you are still going to benefit from listening and tuning into that, you know, which a lot of people say, wow, I've never even posted a video, but I learned so much just from everyone else's videos, you know.
Someone else's question is always someone else's question.
Yeah.
You know, like if we're critiquing someone's squats in different cues, the next person along is going to be like, next time I squat, remember the guy said push the floor away. Yeah. Little things that they get embedded in your head again and again. Again, it's just a different point of view from everyone else as well.
That's
so
right.
It's really important to have.
Well, that's one of the things that we do here, and I'm working on right now because we've added some movements to our progressions chart, and we're upgrading it and publishing a brand new progressions chart for our tribe. But we've got the new athletic performance, sort of more glute-focused option on Wednesday's workout, and things like that. We've iterated the program to start on the low bar back squat, box squat, because we want to develop a little bit more core strength and posterior chain strength and awareness. You know, and so we're updating. We're constantly iterating and updating based on the data. This is why we say that we approach this from a very scientific and methodical standpoint. It's not science-backed, it's scientific method. Scientific process, where we're constantly analysing the data that we're collecting and going, okay, how can we make this better, you know? And this is, I just think, and that's not just on what we do here at Unity Gym. That is also from the input we're getting constantly from this data that we're collecting from the videos that we're seeing people upload. You know, it just creates this ecosystem where we can move forward as a collective group, as a mastermind. That's the true meaning of the mastermind collective. You know, very, very powerful. Much like, and that's probably the last thing I want to end on. Like a team, you know, like the team develops together. You know, there's this team culture. You've got a really great group of people that are all moving for a collective goal, which in your case is to win the premiership.
Exactly. And people get comfortable enough to put their hand up and go, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And be critiqued and go, okay, cool, I respect you and I take that on board. And that is a team culture.
Yeah.
Is, you know, we're doing that really well. So
yeah, it can be really challenging for people, like, as you said at the beginning, you know, they've got to, you've got to be receptive to it. And I know it can be hard, like, especially posting videos to an online forum where you have all these people watching you and everything. But just hope you guys find that understand that there's so much value to be had from doing it. And if, you know, everyone's on the same journey and everyone's just, you know, trying their best. So, like, don't be, you know, nervous about it and feel like you're being judged. It's not judgment, it's critique and feedback. So it's really important to take on that kind of learning mindset and go with it. And for those people who, you know, aren't involved in the online coaching yet, or, you know, just it's not quite where you're at yet, like, I'd really encourage you to take videos, even if you're just looking at them yourself, because you'll get just so much benefit from, you know, the objective nature of the video, and you'll see some things. But yeah, I think there's still, like, ideally, you know, you'll have some other people looking at it and giving you an expert eye. But for anyone out there, it's just a great tool to use for not only your work in the gym, but, you know, if you're running or if you're playing a sports skill, like, having that video and feedback is just so key.
Yeah, look, this is we'll finish on this comment today from a gentleman, Jason, in the UMS Movement Mastermind tribe. He said, can anyone recommend the best program to go with, to purchase, to follow on from the Foundations program? The Foundations program is inclusive in our UMS Online Coaching. It's where we start people off. It's our general preparations program. And then we take them through our Technique Optimizer, which we're just launching now. We've been using it and trialing it in the gym, and it's going fantastically. He's saying here that for financial reasons, the subscription for the online coaching coaching is not something that's within his reach at the moment, but he wants to, keep progressing from the foundations. And, he's got some goals here to put on a bit of muscle, get leaner, get stronger, all the right stuff. But he's saying here, I have some aches and pains to iron out, so I need to improve mobility and flexibility too. Now, I'm going to challenge Jason and anyone else who's sitting there. This is exactly why you need to flip the switch. You can't afford not to do a good coaching program. Now, it may or may not be our coaching program, but I'm telling you now, and a lot of our tribe have chimed in here saying, it's like at the moment with this special that we're offering, it's like $49 or $47 a month, and the amount of value you get from that, and the amount that you're going to save yourself having this feedback, having this connection with great physiotherapists, having all of this stuff that's going that you get is the reason why you can't afford not to. You got to flip it around. You got to say, okay, how? Because at the end of the day, one of my best coaches once said this to me when I was trying to ponder over whether I could afford his coaching service, and he said, "Look, at the end of the day, Yanni, you're either going to do this or you're not. You're either going to find a way or find an excuse as to why you can't do it." And I sat there for a while, and he said, either way is going to be right for you right now, and you can justify that, and it makes no difference to me. But I'm telling you now, there is a way that you can make this work. You just have to find it, And I thought about that for a while, and it was the best decision I ever made. It completely changed and revolutionized who I am as a person and how our business operates today, working with that guy. It wasn't easy initially to find that way.
And I think a thing to keep in mind there as well, I'm pretty sure you're not working with that business coach now, but you spent a good chunk of time learning the systems, learning his principles, learning the way,
yeah.
and then that's set you up for the rest of your life having that knowledge. So for Jason, I totally understand, like financially it's, it can be tough with spending money online on certain things, but if you think about like as a long-term investment, if you can just learn the principles over the next month or two, and then, take that, you'll be in a much better place than if you sort of haven't. And if you've got aches and pains and you're considering seeing physios, like it's and you end up being reactive and spending all this money on the back end because you got things wrong initially, it ends up.
And it's interesting because I always, when I see a situation like that, I feel compelled to go, look, hit me up, send me a private message and I'll hook you up for free. But the problem is that when you give that away, and we've done it a dozen times before, the person squanders? Is that the right word? Yeah. The opportunity, because they don't have any skin in the game. They don't and they don't feel the need to commit to it, Yeah. And so we ended up saying no. We used to do it for our friends all the time and family, and the people that don't pay just never put in any effort, And so we're like, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore. Like we'll do this twice a year. We'll give people an opportunity to get a half price lifetime discount now and again in November. But that's it. Like otherwise, people aren't putting enough skin in the game to invest and get a lot out of the program.
And it's not sustainable as a business.
Well, of course, we can't do that forever. But from like from time to time, if someone is genuinely hard up, I don't want that to stop them from improving their health. But I've just found that like so many times we've done it and it just doesn't work. People just don't put the effort in, and then you're like, wow, man, and you end up just feeling taxed because you're trying to motivate them. Money tends to motivate people when you put a little bit of financial skin in the game. Anyway, guys, look, we're going to bring this in for a landing. Cannot stress to you the importance of getting some feedback. What Phil said is right. Whether you're in our group or not, whether you're in our online coaching or not, videoing yourself, and even in the UMS Movement Mastermind, people throw videos up, and they get a lot of people. Like we make after you've worked with us for 12 months, we make you a moderator for our UMS Movement Mastermind because you've learnt so much from our coaching, and you'll get you'll get feedback in the Movement Mastermind from our moderators that they've worked with us personally for at least a year, a minimum, and they know what they're talking about, So I would challenge you to just post videos of yourself anyway and ask for feedback. You'll probably learn a thing or two. Anyway, we're going to bring this one in for a landing. Thank you very much, Nilesh. Thank you, Phil. We're going to jump over to our UMS Online Coaching daily group coaching call now. So if you're in that tribe, jump over. I know we've got a bunch of you guys on the call here. We got Lee, Stephen, We've got a couple of comments here. Lee said, have a friend who's untrained but experienced CrossFitter gym member who's teaching her husband how to deadlift. Amazed at this. I'm assuming that you're saying that's a terrible idea. I hope. And we've seen that before. We've actually had members who have brought their female members who have brought their boyfriends in to do a workout, like just a single standoff workout. They've never worked with a good coach, but they think they're the gun, and they start correcting their girlfriend or wife who's been working with us for years and has a perfect deadlift, and you're like, dude, shut up. You are ruining her form, Anyway, thanks for joining us today, guys. We will see you all soon over in the coaching group. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, and we're going to bring this program design series in for a landing. Have a great day. Health is about performance, not just body image.
You better be willing to accept what you're going to have to do to get there.
We'll start focusing on movement goals, strength goals, flexibility goals.
When you nail that skill, that's there forever.
The body image goal doesn't get you that
It's
far.
the consistency and frequency that's going to get you there. It's not the intensity.
There's no shortcuts to mastery and movement. Destination doesn't change overnight, but your direction will.
The gym is not the place to beat up the body that you hate. It's the place to build the body that you love.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.